right? And our glass that comes from New Jersey that's woven out west, and like our blanks that are from Marco Foam in California. But we're not waiting for a container to come over.
The supply
We're
chain.
not waiting for someone else to build it. We could take control and go, you know what, guys, we're going to build 5 more stand-ups this week, and we're going to hook up the people that have been asking for them, and they're going to be happy this summer.
Yeah.
Because really no one else has them, but we have the ability to solve the problem.
Exactly.
You know, which is cool.
It's amazing. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like my business, we had crazy supply chain disruption. You know, it's someone who stops short at the front of the Congo line and everyone's just tripping over themselves.
Right.
You know, it started with us pulling back on our orders and all of our customers pulling back on orders, which then created whole backlog in, China and the shipping.
Right.
We stopped exporting, so containers were all here in the U.S. China couldn't make containers fast enough to keep shipping stuff over.
Right.
Then when they did, all the boats arrived at the same time, and the ports are down, are on short staff.
Short staff, yeah.
So, like, all of that stuff is crazy. And so for surfboard shapers, I feel like it's been a boom because you're still mostly locally made. A huge portion of boards are locally made, and the materials are still locally made.
Right. So we still have issues with materials. We had issues with fin boxes.
Yeah,
with
futures.
Futures. We had issues.
Glass on fins coming back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Leash cups. I mean, FCS, the nice little FCS leash cups we use, we couldn't get those forever.
Wow.
So like there were all sorts of issues, but we kind of like worked around them, and of course, blank issues. Getting blanks is through we get Millennium for the poly, and they had issues. The U.S. blanks had issues.
Really?
Yeah. So,
but they're made here, right? But
yeah,
they had trouble getting the chemicals.
It was the
right?
chemical. One of the chemicals I think they couldn't get.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after the Texas thing with the freeze in Texas, a lot of the chemicals that come out of there are causing resin to go up now.
Whoa.
Because of a lack of supply. So,
you feel like your boards are going to have to go up in price?
We just bumped like $20 like a couple weeks ago, but all our suppliers are like, as of 4/1, we're raising our material prices, 10-15%. So it might have to.
And so goes inflation.
That's what it is. I know. It's crazy. Everything's going to go up.
Everything's going to go up. It's definitely, I mean, our shipping is insane now. Like shipping from overseas is so expensive. That is really affecting the cost of everything.
Right.
So, I mean, but it is funny, like, I still think people pay way too little for surfboards.
No, I know. That's always been the thing. Like, if you've got a piece of furniture that took the same amount of time and, the same amount of the quality and the materials that went into it, it wouldn't be $600.
Yeah.
Or $800. It would be
Why don't
$2,000.
you raise it and other people, like, try to do it at the same time, at least locally? Raise the price.
I don't know. I think our prices are always a little bit lower than everybody, but I have a regular job, too. So it's not like I'm really... dependent that much on the money as much as I still like to do it, But I don't know. I think our prices have always been like we're more than a China board, right? But we're less than an Almeric.
Yeah.
And we got to kind of fall in there. If we get to the point that we're an Almeric price range, someone will probably just, they might choose to buy an Almeric. But the thing that we end up doing a lot is like, as it's like, someone has a specific shape they want. They have specific colors. They want epoxy. They want this. They want that. So it's totally custom, and they're still walking out the door for $800 or whatever.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like Firewire? In terms of like, one, they do that consignment program with the surf shops, and they're clearly all over the lineup. You see them everywhere.
Right.
And they're made overseas, but they're kind of made by shapers. It's a weird thing. How do you feel about like that model, that kind of surf tech model, that shaper model that's being produced overseas?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think the quality of those boards are pretty good, and I think the shapes, of course, are good because who's designing them and making them. They're light, they're strong, they perform well. But like I said before, for us, someone might want that, but they want it locally made, and they want different color, or they want different flex characteristics or whatever, and that's where we fall in. We're not trying to compete against a Firewire.
Yeah.
We have our own niche, so to say. And like we ended up, the guy that first came up with Firewire was Bert Berger, right?
Yeah.
So Bert Berger is my partner
when he
at
came
Sonova.
through. Yeah.
So Bert Berger came here. Well, he came here last year, but
Yeah.
we did the licensing agreement with the Carbon Compact and Sonova.
I didn't know that.
So Bert Berger owns Sonova, and Sonova makes boards that look similar to what Firewire was. Same technology, super light, super strong. And that's what our licensing deal is with the Carbon Compact. So they're made in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And we sell them in our shop, and they sell them around the world. So Bert Berger's awesome because
Isn't he great?
Yeah, I remember like reading about that guy years ago, how smart he was.
Yeah.
And he came here. He's like, "Oh, you guys got a cool factory here." He came to the shop, and he's like, "It's the same stuff we've been doing forever." But he's like, "You figured out the 2-piece board, so we're gonna take your idea and run with it." So yeah.
Have you been invited to his factory in Thailand yet?
I have, yeah, but I haven't been able to go because of COVID and because I teach school.
Oh, and
all that.
shit lifts.
That's
Let's
a
go.
huge factory, right?
Let's go,
I
man.
wanna
The
go.
waves look fun,
I know.
too.
There's a wave right behind the factory,
I know.
right? I know.
It's sick. And his German partner, is it?
Yeah. Tino.
Tino, yeah, so cool.
Tino's who I deal with most of the time. Yeah, he's
him.
great. Yeah. You met him before?
I interviewed them. I had them come on the show when they were coming through Rockaway last year.
Yeah.
And, had Bert on it. It was just, awesome.
He knows a lot of stuff, Bert. He invented the sandwich technology that everyone uses.
He did. He created the parabolic stringer that everyone uses. He's got the production down.
He does.
He needed help with the business end, which now it seems he does.
Tino, and then I think there's another partner too that helped with the business side because he's like the mastermind behind the operation.
But it also is interesting because when you talk to someone like that, like he's very much like boards overseas are made with good quality too.
Yeah.
It's I think he's done more to help the cause maybe of having boards made overseas and legitimize them.
Right.
Maybe not as much as Slater, but it's all thanks to Bert Berger in some ways.
It is.
But I don't know about you, but I have mixed feelings about that. Like I hear a lot of people, and I see like Peter Schroff, really rail against boards made overseas.
Right.
And there are some culprits that we, some locally even that we won't name, who get boards made and probably in not so good factories. But I imagine Firewire, I'd like to imagine that maybe they hold it to a higher standard. And
I would think so. And not all China boards are created equal, right? So you get certain ones. There's been some paddle boards. When the paddleboard thing happened, oh my God, everyone was selling paddleboards like crazy.
Yeah.
And we're the ones fixing them now.
Yeah.
When they've been sitting in someone's backyard for a year, and I'm telling you, when you see the wood veneer on these things, and the wood veneer looks beautiful in the store when you buy it, right? That bamboo looks gorgeous. When you see it a year or two later, after it's been in the sun and the rain outside,
bubbly.
And it peels off, and you realize there's no glass.
No, it's just
You're
glue.
You're peeling just a layer of resin off of the bamboo.
Wow.
They never even laminated glass over it. And people are like, "Oh, why is my paddleboard falling apart? Why is my board falling apart?" So they're not all created equal. Like a Firewire is not going to fall apart. Like that. You know what I'm saying? Like everything breaks, everything dings, right? We all know if a surfboard's going to break, it's going to break, right? Or it's going to ding. But something shouldn't be waffling and falling apart like that. So that they increased production to keep up with the paddleboard thing or whatever it was, and they cut corners and they made a lot of junk. So you got to know what you're buying because we'll even sell some inexpensive paddle boards, just to be able to satisfy our customers, so that they don't want to spend $1,500, they want to spend $900 or whatever. So I know that there is a difference.
How much of a difference is it in pricing to make like a 6.0 board and like a 9-foot board? How big a difference is that in costs?
I would say it's not. It's probably not double, but it's close to double, right? So it's like 80%.
Like I guess like I look at like the ski industry, right? It almost the $1,000 pair of ski and the $299, $399 pair of ski costs almost the same to make. Like there's not actually a whole lot adding to the cost of that $1,000 ski.
Right.
So what they do is though they know that they're going to sell way more $399 skis, you know, $300, $400 skis. They're going to sell those like all day long. The $1,000 ski, they're not going to sell all day long.
Right.
But the margin they make on the $1,000 ski is so big that when they sell it, it's equal to like selling 5 or 6 $400 skis, right? They're able to do the $400 skis because they make such a huge profit on it. And I wonder if that type of modeling could be applied to surfboards. Like you do a very bare basic poly that is shaped on the machine and maybe hand shaped by a lesser experienced person. Right. And then you have your more experienced doing a $1,000 board with maybe some carbon or maybe, you know, just...
There's different like tiers, so to say. Yeah, and that's a good idea.
I wonder, like... I'm always curious about the different models that can be done for the business models for surfboards that have not been explored.
Well, people, like, if they order a little kid, like a 4.6, right? Yeah. Why is it still $600? Shouldn't it be $300? Yeah. But it's not, because we still have to do the same process the whole way. Yeah. So, you know, like, that's why, like, we don't even bother making skimboards. And even though we can't get skimboards, I'm like, does it pay to make skimboards, like foam skimboards and glass them? Because you're selling them for $300. You know, does it pay to even make them? Or I'd rather make one paddle.
Finding your limitations, though. You should be calling them the Tom Curran boards and putting little fin boxes and junky bits of foam pieces on it. And then you sell it for $800 to every middle-aged guy like ourselves who want to still be like Tom Curran. Because I'm like curious. I want to ride like a skimboard like Curran now.
Yeah, I know.
I want to see what that feels like. Maybe there.
I don't think I'd be able to catch a wave on it.
I know. That's the thing. You know,
do towing. You got to get Will's jet ski.
Or you need a longboard that you jump on. Jump off, stand up, and then you jump off. Yeah. That's what Curran does. The transfers.
The transfer.
You know,
that's true.
Do you have you seen more kid shaping or more younger people get into shaping over the years?
There's a few. There's a guy who calls himself True Hands, right? And then there's Jimmy from Rockaway. Yeah. There's a few around.
Bob Patagno's still around.
Yeah, he still makes boards. Nice. A few boards. But, you know what's funny? Like, the younger generation, as you can see it, like, I'm the guy skateboarding through my classroom. Yeah. And the kids are, like, blown away. Because we all grew up skateboarding, right? Like, I got 18-year-old kids that have never been on a skateboard before in my class. They're in my high school engineering class, and they've never skateboarded. Never mind bringing the one wheel. I had the one wheel in there the other day. I'm flying in between the desks, flying around the class, talking about the engineering behind the one wheel.
You are the coolest teacher ever, by the way.
And they're trying it, and I'm like, you guys spend way too much time on your phone and screwing around on the internet. You should be outside getting hurt like we used to.
Well, it's interesting, right? Like, for me, I think my vision is very skewed of surfing because I surf mostly Rockaway. Right. And I don't see a lot of kids surfing in Rockaway. And I don't know what it's like elsewhere on the island. Does it feel like there's a crew of kids?
There's little pockets of kids, but there's not as many as there was
when we
years
grew
ago.
Up,
like
think?
you're seeing this influx of people that are starting in their 30s and 40s and 50s. But like honestly, I don't know what it is, but like I always say to Ed, you know, you put the wetsuit on, you paddle out, and you get hit, and you're trying to duck dive, and you can't get through. You know, these kids have instant gratification. They're not going to take 10 waves on the head and paddle out. You know, they're going to turn around and go back to the beach and play on their phone. You know, you hate to say it like that, but that happens a lot. You know, like the kids try surfing. Yeah. Do they stick with it? I mean, Scootins do a great job of pushing them and getting them into it. You know, and they have like a really hot little pocketed team there. And I even have kids that come from Sayville that go out there and do their program and stuff like that.
It's really good.
It's really good. But I don't know, there's a pocket of kids in Montauk, right? Yeah. But it's hard to say. I think the overall population of surfing has gone up a lot since the 90s, right?
Oh my gosh.
But if you looked at the age demographic, it's
old. It skews older, right? Remember like how surfing, particularly in the late 90s and early 2000s, all youth, right? Hurley was not a surf company. It was a youth culture company, technically.
Totally.
And it was all skewed to youth. And now I feel like the industry is like has to change and be like, we gotta just appeal to older people because not as many kids are surfing. It feels.